I honestly thought that everybody would be talking about the Lorvae brand trip, but it is not being discussed in a brand breakdown analysis sort of way. And I really cannot believe that. So let's get into this right into the video. So when I first heard that Lorvae was doing its first brand trip, I was really interested in seeing who was going to be going on this trip and how De'Ara and Lorvae would be going about this. If you guys are not aware, Lorvae is De'Ara's eyewear brand, which I think very soon will probably branch out into other accessories, but right now she's focused on eyewear. Now, De'Ara is more so the face of the brand than she is the sole owner of the brand or sole CEO of the brand. De'Ara actually has other co-founders, and her brand exists under another umbrella company. So if you were ever wondering on how De'Ara got Lorvae up and running, that's how. She has what you could say is a parent company, and she has other co-founders, including herself, but she is the main co-founder, or we could say this, she is the front-facing co-founder. She is the founder that you most often see associated with the brand, and that just makes sense because she's De'Ara Taylor and she's the promotion for the brand. She sells the product. Now, when I want to get into about today with this brand trip is, first of all, who De'Ara selected to go on the trip was really, really smart. She didn't just pick a bunch of random influencers and people with just big, large followings and didn't care about what they were going to do or say when it came to her brand. She actually chose people who she either was personally friends with or content creators who have been supporting Lorvae since its launch, who she has somewhat of a personal relationship with, but she may not call them a friend, right? Or a best friend, which I think is really, really smart. When you look at the content that's been posted about the brand and about the brand trip, all of it feels very, very authentic. And it literally just feels like a girl's trip. And everybody on YouTube, if you're on this side of YouTube, which is beauty and lifestyle, you love to see when the girlies go on a brand trip, but you really love to see when the girlies go on just a girl's trip. So it was kind of like the girls were just out and having a good time, and Lorvae just happened to be sponsoring the trip. Another thing I want to point out is De'Ara also selected a really wide array of women. Everybody on the trip was not the same age. Everybody on the trip did not make the same kind of content. Everybody on the trip doesn't even have the same audience. Obviously, when you're doing a brand trip, you are looking to reach a wide audience. You're casting a really wide net. So in theory, brands should be selecting content creators and or influencers who have a pretty wide reach, who can get them a larger audience. With De'Ara selecting her friends, she was able to choose mothers, right? She was able to choose women who are maybe more focused on fashion or women who actually are known for travel. She had influencers who are really more so known as models, but have started to pivot into influencing and content creation. Also, I'ma just call a spade a spade. De'Ara had a lot of varying skin tones on this brand trip, and I think that was so incredibly important. I'm just going to say this here. A lot of times, brands select all of the same looking kind of girl for brand trips, and I don't know. You can argue that it's for aesthetic sake, but I just feel like, again, in theory, when you are hosting a brand trip, the idea is that the people you invite on that trip are going to make content for at least a couple of days during and after the trip, which will engage their audience, but also bring a new set of eyes to your brand that hopefully translate into sales. Now, if a brand is really like, we only want this one specific kind of person shopping with us, then I guess I understand why they would only have a very specific kind of person on their brand trip. But again, what sort of messaging is that? We can take it back to the Brandy Menville of it all, right? Like, when y'all say you really only want one sort of person shopping with you or shopping with your company, it does not give off a good vibe. So De'Ara and Lorvae have always, I would argue, have always been really great at their branding from their launch day to what they're doing now. They've always prioritized their customer. The customer has always been first in the branding with Lorvae. Yes, she does these big really beautiful campaigns. There's always a lovely rollout, right? She just did that collaboration with JT that had a rollout. All of that is wonderful. But Lorvae and De'Ara, pretty much always, as soon as that rollout is done, they get back to the customer. They are posting their customers, and their customers get it. De'Ara Taylor's audience is fashion girlies, girls who like makeup, girls who are into lifestyle, girls who like accessories, girls who like to adorn themselves, get dressed up. Does not matter the occasion. It doesn't need to be the occasion. The occasion is you woke up today, right? So De'Ara and her team know that, pretty much most people who are shopping with Lorvae like to be seen, want to be seen, and also they admire the lifestyle that De'Ara has. So De'Ara and her team are always reposting the customers, not just the story, but to the grid. And I always argue there's no better marketing than your customer. Point blank, period. There's no better marketing than your customer, than your everyday person who is spending money on your brand. You cannot ask for a better commercial. You cannot ask for a better marketing expert on your product, because that person goes out into the world. They're wearing their Lorvae shades. Anytime somebody asks them, "Oh girl, what are those shades? Those look so nice," they're going to say Lorvae. Best commercial in the world. Like, best commercial in the world. So by prioritizing posting content from her buyers, from her customers, from her fan base, she creates a really strong relationship of trust. She reinforces that. So with this brand trip, again, by inviting creators who we already associate with De'Ara and the brand, because either she's included them in campaign materials, or she has sent them PR boxes, or they've just been talking about the brand since the brand launched, she is again reinforcing that trust that she has spent years building with her core audience. Because De'Ara has been around on YouTube for a long time. She's been on social media for a long time, but Lorvae has not. Lorvae has not. And I would say, I also think that De'Ara, although the brand is still really young, is already starting to make some very well thought out strategic moves so that she doesn't have to be the face of Lorvae for all time. I think the collaboration with JT was very smart, because now you don't only associate Lorvae with De'Ara Taylor and like YouTube and content creators and influencers. Now you associate Lorvae with celebrities, tried and true celebrities. You could argue that De'Ara is a celebrity. Some would, some wouldn't. It depends on how you look at it. I would say that De'Ara does have celebrity, but she might not be a celebrity. Those are two different things. A person can have celebrity and fame, but not necessarily be famous and or a celebrity. De'Ara is very well known. She's incredibly popular. She has millions of followers. She's been doing this for years. She absolutely has some level of celebrity and fame. If you say she doesn't, you're bugging. But to do something like that, to collaborate with JT, to work off of her social network, right? To already tap into all the people that she's around, like the JTs of the world, she's already positioning her brand as something larger and beyond herself. Lorvae is not just De'Ara Taylor. It's not just an extension of what she's done on YouTube. Lorvae will go beyond De'Ara just being the face of it all the time. So I also feel that this brand trip was another way, again, strategically with who she chose to be on the trip, is helping her, again, not be the only person you associate Lorvae with, or the only person you go to for Lorvae styling, Lorvae videos, Lorvae anything. A wide array of women, a wide array of skin tone, wide array of body shapes, body types, wide array of audiences, of type of content creators. Like chef's kiss, you couldn't really put together a better brand trip. And then I also feel like the gifts that she gave out made a lot of sense. Again, these are content creators, these are influencers. You have to give them a moment. They have to have something to talk about, something to repost. They have to have something that the other girls desire. So giving out designer bracelets, okay, at the table, at the welcome dinner, that was gorgeous. Also supporting other Black women. Karen and Rita products were in their gift bags. If you're not familiar with Karen and Rita is the accessories brand by Aaliyah J. Aaliyah J, another tried and true content creator, influencer girly. Honestly, one of the OG YouTube girlies, one of the OG influencers. Before we were even using language like influencer, Aaliyah J has been known, baby. Before she was even on YouTube, she was just known in New York, period, for just being one of the girls. So I thought that was a beautiful thing. Again, the gift bags seem to be pretty full of mostly Black-owned products and Black-owned companies, and also specifically women-led, owned, founded companies. So very strategic, very well thought out. I just think it was a very smart brand trip. I think a lot of brands are paying very close attention to Lorvae and De'Ara. Arguably, Lorvae is a small business. I know to us that sounds crazy because we're like, but De'Ara is so big and popular and her brand is so popular. It's a small business. No matter what she's grossing in sales, it's a small business. It's 2 years old. It's small. It just began. You know what I'm talking about? But it's the small owned businesses that often are creating the trends and paving a new way. I truly think that other brands are going to take a hint, and the next time that they do brand trips, they're going to try to either put together a girls trip, they're going to try to put together a boys trip, or they're going to try to put a group together that already have some established relationship with each other, so the content doesn't come off so much as this is a commercial for this brand that invited me here, but more so like, oh my gosh, we are a group of friends that all have been selected by this brand to go on this trip and to talk about their things that we already organically purchase and use. Because I think that's a big part of it. The fact that everybody on this trip, although they were getting gifted products from De'Ara and from Lorvae, because some of them do have a very personal relationship with De'Ara and they are her friend, they were also buying the product regardless. Like, they were also still purchasing Lorvae with their own money. And they talk about that organically in their content on YouTube, specifically on Instagram and all of that. So it just made sense. It was such a beautifully cohesive trip. I think that other brands, like I said, are going to take note. Now. When other brands take note, I will be interested in seeing how they expand on this thought from Lorvae on really organizing a girls trip and putting together like a group of friends versus a bunch of individual content creators that really don't have any relationship with each other, and you're just doing it like for the sheer sake of numbers. It's like, how many content creators, how many influencers can we get on this island who have, you know, a couple million followers each, so we can make sure at least 30 million people, you know, see our stuff. Like, it doesn't feel real. Again, it just gives commercial. I'm also interested in seeing how Lorvae does their second brand trip, because De'Ara already was hinting at another brand trip literally already being planned and in the works for Lorvae. So I'm very interested in seeing how she does that. I'm super excited to see that smaller Black-owned brands are taking brand trips. Again, though, right? De'Ara has her own money, and rightfully so, from being on YouTube for all these years. So though Lorvae is her brand, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if she got together with her accountant and did what needed to be done to put her own sort of personal investment into this trip. But again, it just made so much sense, and I'm really excited. A brand that I would like to see do a brand trip very soon that I think it would make a lot of sense for actually is Jackie Aina with Forever Mood. I think Forever Mood could really pull off a gorgeous brand trip. For Forever Mood, though, I think because Jackie loves to travel and a lot of Forever Mood notes are like on the, I would say, more like floral, kind of like clean, fresh smell side. They definitely hit the nail on the head when they do their seasonal scents. But I would say overall the brand leans into more like clean, fresh notes. Really like things that just smell very high end. They make you think more so of a really good body, long-lasting body fragrance in oil or perfume or eau de toilette, right? Then versus like candle smell. I don't know how to explain it, but I love her candles and they just smell expensive. But I think she could really do a really tasteful, really high level brand trip. But I feel like I would see Jackie probably start doing this with dinners. I mean, like, she's done a couple of brand activations where, you know, a wide array of people are invited. But I would really like to see how Jackie would curate, you know, a group of 10 to 12 women, or women and men, you know, whatever. But how she would curate a group of like 10 to 12 folks to, you know, zero in on her brand and promote it and talk about it and be on a brand trip. I think that'd be really cool to see. I hope that a lot of other smaller Black owned brands follow suit. A brand trip doesn't have to be super extravagant or expensive at all. I mean, this is just how Lorvae has, you know, chosen to do it. But I think a lot of brands, especially if they start locally, like staycations, you know what I mean? Like, partner with that local hotel or partner with the boutique hotels. Like, there are a lot of fun ways to do these very focused brand activations in the form of brand trips. So I'll be excited to see what brands follow suit. But again, just kudos to Lorvae and to De'Ara. I think she made a really smart decision doing a brand trip, and I hope to see many, many more from Lorvae.